Hello and welcome, I am Gary and Reaver and this is another Arknights tier list. This is Defenders. So I have already done a tier list on snipers, which will be linked in the description, go check that out. And let's crack on. So there are actually two in this that I don't believe are in global. In which case I will be ignoring them because they don't exist in the version I play at the moment. So, let's crack on. We have, to remind you, we have 6 tiers, Garen. There is C, which is the basic if I'm just neutral on them. B and D is if I like or dislike them. A and E is if I really like or really dislike them. And S are for the best of the best, my favourites of the class. Starting off with Dinar. I like her. I wish she was better, but I do rather like her. Bison, I am rather neutral on. I kind of like his story, and I like the design of his shield and stuff, but apart from that, mostly neutral. Hung, I'm not a fan. Cardigan, I will sometimes use her if I need a medic, but she isn't the best, like, 3-star medic operator. That would be, wherever I find him, Spot. I'll stick him in there as well, but he's a high B, she's a low B. Spot is actually useful at healing other people, but I think Cardigan only heals herself, so it's not the most useful thing. Nian, the beginning of the whole Sui siblings thing. I remember her being added as such a massive thing back in the day. No, I'm going to stick her at B. I don't love her. I'm not a massive fan of her attitude compared to like some of her siblings, but there's nothing wrong with her. Beagle, very competent at C, or competent at C. Competent for a 3-star. There's nothing wrong with her, but I don't use her much at all. Asbestos, she's wobbling between a C and a D for me because I've not used her. I think she might be a duelist, which is the same as Nian and like Hunecta's. I might be wrong about that, but it's not an archetype that I find particularly useful in a defender. I think her interesting design elevates her to a C, so I'll leave her there. Hunecta's, probably a C as well. Something you might notice here is I don't use many defenders. Like, I find a lot of the defenders, because it's a very... I want to say it's a very basic role. You know, it's just survivability. You need to block and stay alive. And if you can do those, then you're a good defender. If you can't do those, then you're a bad defender. And stuff like having a cannon or being able to only block one guy at a time, it sort of takes away a bit from what I personally use defenders for. That isn't to say that ones like Horn aren't useful. So Horn, I'm going to put it a B because I like her design and the story behind her and that she is considered quite powerful. But I have personally not found much of a use for that kind of role. Bubble, I'm going to put at a D. I'm putting her at a D1 because I'm not a big fan of her design. 2, or B, or 2. Beta, because I've never used her. And 3, she sort of stole what would have been Aroma's name if Aroma had come first, because Aroma is obsessed with bubbles.
I want to test out my new bubbling formula. Bubbling equipment, ready to go. Bubble richness, up to standard. Bubble dissipation.
Blemish Shine, I believe that is. Sorry, the Nerl family all bleed together a little for me. She's nice enough, like, she's quite pretty. Mudrock. Mudrock. Mudrock is fantastic. She goes all the way up to S. She's a defender I use a great deal. I did an extended Dr. Garian's file talking about her character and her story, so you should check that out because I think that is a fascinating story. She's very good, and she's one of the few that sort of breaks the mold a bit on how I use defenders because she can't be healed, but it means that she is able to hold a lane all on her own when most other classes or even operators just can't. Blitz, I used to use a lot in Siege, but I'm not sure how well he's translated, because he was always a very aggressive one. I suppose most of them were very aggressive, you know, they've all got to attack and defend, haven't they? But what I mean is, I don't know how well, like, I don't think the art looks at all like Blitz. I think it's basically they just put an anime guy in Blitz's armor, which I suppose is the case for some of them, but at least some of the others you see it in them, but I just don't in Blitz, and I've never used him. Heavy Rain. Neutral, I've never used her. By the way, if you have tips on how I can use some of these, or interesting ways I can use some of them, I would love to hear it. Please, by all means, put it in the comments. I would like to vary who I use, but when I'm like doing a level or doing a challenge, it's like, I'd rather stick with the ones I know how to use. So if you have advice on how I can use some of the others better, please do tell me. I believe this is Ashlock. She's the same as Horn in that it's like the canon one, I believe. Yeah, just I've not used her either. Sorry, I keep saying that, but it keeps being true. Alright, so let's do one that I have used. Province. Nope, that's not Province. It's Penance. Province is the sniper. I'm going to put Penance at A. I like her design. I like her outfits. And I used her because she was like used in a guide. And I found out that like she is this... I think she has like a Thorns ability. I don't know if it's a skill or if it's just what she does. But it was fantastic. She took out a horde on her own. Like there were tons of them and she just took them all out because they're all attacking her. It was astonishing but incredible. Aurora, I think I like her design. The polar bear and so on is nice, and there's sort of a hint to how she doesn't feel the cold because she's wearing winter gear, but like a revealing outfit. I think you can see a midriff. I can't remember his name. Is it Shalem? Completely neutral. I don't particularly like his design. Oh, another one whose name I can't pronounce. I don't like his design very much either, sorry. Fire Whistle is her name. I was thinking it's like Firewatch again is the sniper. Who's this? Fire Whistle. I wish her art was better because I think she is really pretty, but her E2 art is rather disappointing. I'm looking forward to when she gets an outfit and that will hopefully sort of elevate her, but she is probably the only cannon I do use regularly. The only artillery defender. I could try swapping like Horn in and using her in that role instead, but I do sometimes use her because I like her design and I like that she has this sort of plastic shield. It's just a cool look. Cement I haven't used, but I think is kind of cool, so I'm just going to elevate her. Defender Robot. Why bother? Jessica, I forgot that her alter was a defender because I didn't get her. So it's Jessica, so automatically increases up to at least a B. But is Jessica the Liberator, I believe it is? Liberator? I think it's Baseline is his name? Shu. I'm sticking up at A. She is, I think, one of the better Sui siblings, by which I mean better than Nian. Although I know people who weren't pleased with her design when it was first revealed. I kind of like the blue and the yellow. Reminds me a bit of Nia from Gurren Lagann as a sort of a colour scheme. And the sort of the check pattern top thing is stylish. Lutanada is one that I didn't get, but I was hoping to, because I see her in a lot of fan art and she looks so adorable with her giant ears. So I'm going to elevate her to a B because I do want to get her, which there aren't many operators that I don't have that it's like I definitely do want to get that one. So I roll extra if they pop up. Underflow. I think I like her name. I think I would like it more if it was Undertow. Underflow sounds like you're saying it wrong, and I have to correct myself that no, that is the correct way, because I'm just thinking of like Undertow from Bioshock Infinite and stuff. But yeah, her cool name and aesthetic and stuff slightly elevate her. These two are the two I believe are currently not in global. I know he isn't. I don't recognize her, so I assume she isn't. Matterhorn, neutral. Noircorn, I have actually been using him. He would normally be a D because, you know, the 3 stars are pretty useless for the most part, but I have been using him in the sand algorithm. Kuora, like, I used her out of necessity rather than actually particularly liking her. I don't, something I said in the, because I recorded a tier list of or I tried to record a tier list of all the different Arknights outfits, and it didn't record the footage an hour in. But in that I mentioned that Kaora doesn't really have a good look. Like, all of her outfits just look a bit weird and sort of vacant. And that sort of drops her down to a C, even if she was sort of the linchpin of my early playstyle. Gummy! I'm actually going to stick her up at A. If I need if I need a healer, medic, and I can't have a 6-star, it has to be Gummy. I don't have any 5-star healers that I've leveled. Like, I think Nerl is a 5-star healer. I haven't leveled her. I probably should. But Gummy is a good substitute. Speaking of which, Nerl. I think I prefer the Radiant Hard version of Nerl. This one is just a bit sort of straight-laced and boring, whereas Radiant is more interesting. Speaking of interesting, Liskarm. I don't think she's sort of absolute top tier. I think her archetype's a little underpowered, but I like her design. I like that she basically plays like Rainbow Six operators with the shield and the pistol. Croissant, pretty neutral on her. I've never used her, but she's Penguin logistics, so that elevates her above D at least. Vulcan, she's probably up at an A. I don't use her much, although I think she's the same archetype as Mudrock, but I do really like her design and her story and all of that. And the last two are both two I use a fair bit. Hoshi I'm going to stick up at S. She may have even been the first S tier, the first 6-star I got, because I did have to restart. Originally I got Angelina as my first 6-star, but then had to restart because I didn't lodge my account with an email address and stuff, and it got deleted and so on. But anyway, Hoshi is to this day the absolute anchor of my team. I always use her with Thorns, she's always fantastic. And Saria, I'm going to put her at A, although I also use her in almost every sort of difficult level. I don't love her character, so she's very useful but not S tier. And those are my defenders. Please let me know where you would put yours. Do you have any S tier? Do you have any that go beyond S tier and have a tier all of their own that you just absolutely love? And as I said, if you have any suggestions for how I can use ones like Horn or Nean, Eunectus, Duelist or Artillery or anything like that, please do let me know, as I would like to expand my strategies, particularly with defenders. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for other Arknights content. Check out my sniper tier list, linked in the description. You can also do this tier list yourself. That is also linked in the description. And check out Dr. Garen's files and learn more about Mudrock and stuff. So thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you later.